You ever have one of those days where you think you're untouchable, then life just knocks you flat? That's exactly where I was, not so long ago. You see, I'd always been the guy in the sharp suit, head high, thinking the world spun a little faster just for me. I was Brad Foster, big shot in New Haven City, at least in my own mind. But that one morning, after my dream deal crashed and burned, the city felt a little colder, the street a little rougher under my shiny shoes. I remember feeling like everybody was in my way, like the universe was throwing elbows just to see if I'd flinch. Yeah, I was wound tight, and I was looking for someone to take it out on. That's when I saw him, old Henry, camped outside the deli, holding a torn sign that read Army Vet, down but not out. If I'm honest, I'd walked past him 100 times without so much as a glance. But that day, with my pride aching, something in me snapped. I just blurted out, "Why don't you get a job, man? This city's got no time for freeloaders." I know, not my best moment. I expected him to cower or snap back. But Henry, he just looked up at me, steady as a rock, and said, "Careful, friend. Life can put you right here faster than you think." The way he said it, it hit me, but I shoved that feeling away. I wasn't about to let some street philosopher shake my tree. So I got louder, stepped in close, trying to prove something, maybe to him, maybe to myself. That's when Megan, the shelter volunteer, popped in between us, looking me dead in the eye. "Brad, this isn't you. You don't know Henry." I waved her off. Big mistake. She said, "I work at Beacon Shelter. Henry's got a story you wouldn't believe." And I, full of myself, full of anger, shoved Henry hard enough that he hit the ground. The whole street just stopped. Phones out, eyes on me, the mighty Brad Foster. I'll never forget how Henry just got up slow, wiped the dust off, and then he said something that turned my blood cold. "Your old man wouldn't have wanted this, Brad." Now, that stopped me. "How do you know my dad?" I said, not even trying to hide the shake in my voice. Henry pulls out a set of dog tags. Tom Foster. He saved my life back in the Gulf. My dad, the man who taught me to be tough, never told me about Henry. Just always told me to keep pushing, keep climbing. But here's Henry, living proof there was more to Dad than boardroom stories. And then, like fate wanted to rub it in, people in the crowd started recognizing him. A lady in a gray suit called out, "You're the guy from the news, right? The vet who couldn't get a job after coming home." Other voices joined in. "He's a hero. They never gave him a chance." Suddenly, I was the villain in a story I didn't even know I was living in. Every head turned, every phone pointed at me. All the power, all the money, useless. I tried to walk away, but a couple of guys blocked me. "You can't just leave. Make it right, man." I looked at Henry, still standing strong. I tried to fix it the only way I knew. "Let me get you a room, some food. Anything you need." Megan just shook her head. "That's not what he needs, Brad. He needs dignity, a job, something real, like your dad would have given him." I was out of moves, out of excuses. I just stood there, exposed, feeling smaller than I'd ever felt in my life. For the first time I saw Henry, not as a problem, not as some sad story, but as a man who'd lived, who'd fought, who deserved a hell of a lot more respect than I'd ever given him. I broke down, right there in front of everyone. I said I was sorry, that I'd been wrong about everything. That's when Henry, with a kind of quiet you can't fake, said, "Your dad never lost track of me, Brad. He always knew where I was. He just didn't know how to reach you." Let me tell you, that felt like someone had punched a hole straight through my chest. I'd spent my whole life thinking Dad was just hard on me. Turns out, he didn't have the answers either. We both built walls, and we both paid for it. After that, the crowd eased off. Megan put a hand on my shoulder and said, "You want to help? Start showing up. Listen, that's what matters." So, I started showing up at Beacon Shelter. First, just doing dishes, hauling boxes, nothing glamorous. But I listened. I heard stories from people who'd been through hell and back, who had every reason to be bitter, but somehow still had hope. It changed me. I started to understand that the real strength in this world isn't in money or power. It's in surviving, in caring, in refusing to give up. It took time, but Henry began to trust me. I'll admit, I screwed up a bunch. Sometimes the old me crept back in, but I was learning, slow and steady. And then Megan dropped the real twist. She told me Henry and my dad had planned that encounter. Yeah, you heard me. My whole wake-up call, it was their idea. At first I was mad. Who likes being set up, right? But then I got it. Sometimes you need to be shocked out of your old life to see what you've really become. A few weeks later, Henry and I met up in the park. No big speeches, no crowd, just two guys sitting in the sun. He looked at me and said, "You finally get it, Brad. It's never too late to be decent." He held out his hand, and I took it. This time, for real. You know, that handshake felt like the beginning of something good. Maybe even the start of becoming the man my dad always hoped I'd be. So, here's my question for you. Was Henry right to teach me a lesson like that? Was my dad wrong for pulling the strings? Or is that just what it takes to break through someone's pride? I want to hear what you think. Ever been humbled in public? Ever judged someone too fast? Drop your story in the comments. Tell me what you'd have done. Because maybe, just maybe, we all need a wake-up call before it's too late.